And you may not be aware of the many black people who helped America get to the moon.
The Space Race is a National Geographic documentary set to air later this month. It shares the story of Ed Dwight, the man who trained to be the first black astronaut.
Denver 7's Angelica Albaladejo met up with Dwight. He now lives here in Denver, and he has an incredible story.
This is our fabrication shop.
From wax to bronze, Ed Dwight brings sculptures to life.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Miles Davis, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, all African-American greats whose history Ed preserves through art.
It has developed into 132 of these memorials and public art pieces around the country.
And Dwight himself made his mark on history, well before he started welding metal.
Once I went into art, everybody was surprised.
That's because Dwight started out in the Air Force, and he was the first black man trained to be an astronaut.
And I had a wonderful career going in 1961.
When the John F. Kennedy White House asked him to go from flying military jets to prepare to go to space.
And I thought it was the craziest thing I'd ever heard. I had absolutely zero interest in being an astronaut. My mother got into the mix. In her mind, it was, well, look what you can do for the race and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't there to save the race. I was there going to space.
But between the space race and the civil rights movement,
I was in the middle of all of this tug of war that was fighting. Black community was upset with me because I wasn't talking about black struggle, and I couldn't do that because against Air Force regulations that I finished the space program thing. And then everything was fine until the president got assassinated.
Dwight never went to space.
I left the military and moved to Denver. I was the first black to do this and to do that in the real estate business and the construction business.
And construction led to art.
I would go at the end of the day, I would go to all my construction sites and pick up all the metal off the ground, pieces of metal, anything that, you know. And I taught myself how to weld.
Dwight read up on sculpture making and black history.
I had no idea what the black community was going through. And then when I started reading all this history, my God, it was so much.
As he made memorials, the U.S. Park Service told him,
"You're the first black sculptor that makes people look like themselves." Like when I did the Obama thing, I've got about 100 pictures of Obama, and I've got them all around me. And then we come back here.
Now 90 years old, Dwight is as proud of his aerospace history as he is about making Denver a black art hub, even as some told him.
You ain't gonna get anything good coming out of Colorado. He had to twist it and stand it on his head. That this little has from Colorado has a statement to make.
Reporting from Denver, I'm Angelica Albaladejo.
Well, this Sunday on Real Talk with Denver 7 and CPR News, a real talk about black history in Colorado. We introduce you to Denver historian Donnie Betts to talk about the namesake behind the city's first park to be dedicated to an African American, the Sonny Lawson Park. He spent his life creating jobs for black people.
When you think about Denver, the Denver-Kansas City rail line was very important. So a lot of people came here to get work in Denver through that rail line. Yeah. So porters, nurses, whatever the case might be, he made sure they had a place to stay. He made sure they had jobs, their children had jobs, and so on and so forth.
Now you can watch our Real Talk on Sonny Lawson Park as well as the history of Denver's Five Points neighborhood this Sunday at 5:30 right here on Denver 7. You can also watch that episode and others streaming right now on our website. That's denver7.com/realtalk.